Good morning from our cafe. It is Friday, August 21, 2026, and the FDA has proposed a food additive rule that is not final.
That word proposed matters. I can listen with my coffee, but I should not file the rule under already happening.
Right. Our key word is pending, because this rule is still waiting for a final decision.
Pending always makes me check my phone twice. Something is moving, but I cannot treat it as finished.
That is the right feeling. For the food substances covered by the proposal, notification is currently voluntary.
Voluntary now with a possible change ahead. I'm putting a mental sticky note on the word possible.
Keep that sticky note. We also have a baseball sale that team owners unanimously approved.
Approval sounds like a finish line, so I already feel a tiny language trap coming.
Good instinct. The sale still awaited its official closing when it was reported.
So the receipt is not the same as taking the purchase home. That's another pending moment.
Exactly. Our third story is about 30 lions and tigers that began transferring from a former zoo.
30 big cats make my little phone icon feel suddenly very small.
I understand that reaction. They began entering transport crates, but we cannot call the relocation complete.
Then I want every verb to stay calm and accurate, even if the picture in my head feels enormous.
That balance will guide us. Say what moved, and also say what remains unfinished.
I like it. Pending is not empty waiting today. Each story has already taken a real step.
If you enjoy real-world news in clear English, subscribe and let's start with the proposed rule.
Coffee ready, sticky note ready, and no imaginary finish lines. Let's go.
The FDA, the U.S. agency behind this proposal, would require GRAS notices for certain uses of substances in human and animal food if the rule is finalized.
That helps me place the agency, but GRAS still looks like a label I would stare at on a grocery app.
GRAS is the U.S. food safety notification route for those uses. Filing a notice through that route is currently voluntary. So the route exists, but using it is voluntary now. My coffee brain is saving room for the proposed change. Exactly. If finalized, the proposal would require manufacturers to notify regulators before introducing new ingredients or additives. Before introducing them, that timing is easy to picture. It's like speaking before adding something new to the shared kitchen shelf. That kitchen image fits the sequence. Manufacturers would also provide their safety rationale with the notification.
So they wouldn't just say, here's the new thing. They'd include their reason for considering it safe.
Yes, your not just the thing reaction captures why the rationale belongs beside the notice. I would want those 2 pages clipped together. My desk loses any paper that tries to travel alone. One boundary is important here. The proposal itself does not establish pre-market review. So I shouldn't turn notify before into receive a review before in my head. Exactly. Notification would be required for those uses if finalized, but this proposal does not create that review.
My sticky note now has 2 columns, what the proposal would require and what it does not establish.
That's a useful way to keep the news precise without making the proposal sound final. If I hear proposed, I should imagine a door that's been approached, not a door everyone has walked through. It also protects the scope. The proposal concerns certain uses, not every ingredient in every situation.
Certain uses, not the whole grocery store. My shopping list brain can stop highlighting every shelf.
Yes, put down the giant highlighter. The limited wording is part of the fact, not a small footnote.
That makes the story easier to hold. Voluntary now, a proposed requirement, and clear limits around it. Well held.
The news is a proposed change in notification, with the final status still pending.
And my coffee brain has finally stopped trying to publish the rule ahead of schedule.
In MLB, the Professional Baseball League, team owners unanimously approved transferring the San Diego Padres club to an investor group led by Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones.
Unanimous approval sounds huge. If I saw that on my screen, I would be tempted to shout, "Done."
I would gently lower your celebration sign. Owner approval is one transaction stage, and the official closing was still pending when reported.
Thank you for saving me from throwing confetti during the paperwork stage. Approved is not the same as officially closed.
Exactly. The May agreement had a reported valuation of $3.9 billion.
That number would make me sit up so fast that my cafe chair would need its own seatbelt.
I can picture the chair. The large figure describes the reported valuation, not the transaction's final status.
Right. Big number, big approval, and still one honest little pending label.
There was an earlier step, too. The MLB Management Council gave initial approval on August 4th.
So this was not one magical stamp. I need a small timeline, not a single dramatic button.
Your timeline starts with that initial approval, then the owner's unanimous approval, while official closing was still awaited.
It feels like collecting travel stamps, but refusing to call the trip over before reaching the final desk.
That comparison works because it respects the order without inventing an arrival. And the investor group has two named leaders, so I can follow who is at the front without adding a whole crowd chart. Keep it. The reported facts give us approval, valuation, and sequence, but not a completed sale. That is surprisingly relatable. An online order can be approved while I'm still waiting for the actual handoff. I hear your everyday comparison. Here, the careful phrase is awaited its official closing. So unanimously describes the owner's vote, it doesn't erase the remaining step. Precisely. Your imaginary confetti can stay in the bag until the language truly allows it out. The bag is sealed. I have learned not to let a strong verb drag me past the last confirmed fact. That's why pending fits the story so naturally. Approval happened, while official closing remained ahead. One story, two true stages. Baseball has never made me this careful with office vocabulary. At the former Luján Zoo in Argentina, 30 lions and tigers began a transfer by entering transport crates.
30 is a lot to hold in one thought. I immediately picture a checklist longer than my weekly shopping list.
Your checklist fits the scale. 4 Paws is the animal welfare organization overseeing the operation.
Oversight makes me think of someone watching the whole board, not just one square on it.
That is a fair picture. 4 Paws also documents veterinary assessment and responsibility for the animals at the former zoo.
Then the paperwork in my imagination is not decorative. It is tied to assessment and responsibility.
Exactly. You are connecting the documents to the stated roles without turning them into a claim about an outcome.
I am trying. With big cats, my imagination wants to sprint, so the facts need a comfortable walking pace.
Argentina's government had confirmed a planned mid-August relocation of all 30 big cats.
A planned relocation gives me a calendar image, but I'm not drawing a big completed checkmark on it.
Keep that box open. 15 were planned to go to a sanctuary in the United States.
Half the group in one direction. I can place one careful arrow on my mental map.
And the other 15 were planned to go to a sanctuary in South Africa.
2 equal groups make the plan easy to remember, but they still don't turn the plan into a finished journey.
I like how your 2 arrows preserve both the split and the unfinished status.
My map has arrows, no victory banner, and definitely no made-up destination pins.
Good. The verb began matters because the animals had started entering transport crates.
I would underline began twice. It gives us movement without pretending we saw the ending.
Exactly. We can say the transfer started, but we cannot say the relocation was complete.
That difference feels small in grammar and enormous in the picture it creates.
That's the responsible path. 30 animals, a planned split, and a transfer that had begun.
This is the strongest pending story for me. It moves, but it refuses a rushed ending.
Before we leave the cafe, which story made the word pending feel most precise to you?
The big cats. They had begun entering transport crates, yet I still had to leave the ending open.
That careful tense mattered. A started transfer was the confirmed news, not a completed relocation.
I felt the same pause with the Padres. My confetti hand moved, but the official closing had not happened yet.
Yes, the unanimous approval was real, and so was the remaining wait for official closing.
Then, the FDA proposal gave us the quietest version of pending, discussed the possible rule without calling it final.
Nicely put. If finalized, it would change notification from voluntary to required for certain uses.
And my 2-column sticky note reminds me that the proposal itself does not establish pre-market review.
Now it is our listeners' turn. Which story's unfinished stage caught your attention most and why?
Tell us in the comments. You can choose the proposed rule, the pending closing, or the big cat transfer.
Keep your answers simple and accurate, just as we tried to do at the cafe today.
Mine would be, the transfer caught my attention because the word began changed the whole picture.
If this conversation helped, please like the video and subscribe for another cafe conversation.
Bring your coffee next time. I'll bring the responsible sticky note and keep the confetti sealed.
Have a thoughtful Friday, and remember that pending is a stage, not an invitation to guess the ending.
See you next time. Until then, let the confirmed facts finish their own story.